everybody! Welcome to a special edition of Nerdy New Jersey, New York. With us today, we have our usual hosts. We have Nero, all the way
Hello, how are you doing?
aka Breathing Veil. We also have Erin. Say hi to
Hello.
everybody.
Hi.
And my buddy Chris Wong, who is an
Hello.
avid non-Facebook user. And today we'll be discussing internet and Facebook addiction, as well as other addictions having to do with technology and software and all that. So, Chris, I guess I'll just start from the top of my head. When was the last time you logged into Facebook, and why?
Wow. Okay. So last time I logged into Facebook, I would probably say was maybe 3 weeks ago, and this is after years of a hiatus and not even going on to it. The reason why is because um, I was vetted by one of our friends, Carla, to go ahead and see if I could last X amount of time using Facebook. I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and log on. Under that pretense, I logged on, and I wanted to go ahead and see what had changed from the moments that I did or wasn't using it, rather. And upon seeing it, I couldn't last more than half an hour. Um, I guess that'll be another question that goes down the way, but I just lasted about half an hour. I was like, nope, can't do it anymore. And then at that point, I logged off and deactivated Facebook again.
So, what was it about Facebook that turned you off again, I guess?
So the original reason that I should preface everything right now, so I guess that so further questions and people that are listening understand exactly where I'm coming from. It's completely opinion. In no way, shape, or form is it anything like official, or am I like, well educated or a doctorate or any way, shape, or form able to give you a professional opinion. What I can give you though is my perspective, and my perspective is as follows. What made me get off of Facebook what made me join Facebook is the same reason that everyone joined Facebook in the beginning or wants to be on Facebook, which is social connection. A reason to go ahead and connect with another person and or connect with your friends when you really don't want to have to go through the old school style of sending like 10 text messages at a time, way before in the days of old when you had your old StarTAC cell phone and everyone just got like one gigantic message pinging off everyone's phones.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, of course, joined Facebook closer towards maybe mid 2000s, right after the MySpace craze died down and everyone else joined in on Facebook. And it was fine for a while because it was all we knew. It was a matter of getting in contact with all your friends, family, and or anyone at that point who was joined up. What made me get off of it eventually was I started realizing that for myself, the pattern of information that I wanted to derive from Facebook was no longer pleasing me. It wasn't giving me what I wanted, and instead it made me feel like I was just much more of a jaded person, made me feel disconnected from humanity because I felt that everything was just a gigantic pattern. What I mean by that is, take most Facebook profiles on a very consumer level, on a very personal level, for example. Most of the time, you need to accept people in order for those folks to be part of your group, in order for them to see what you're saying, in order for you to interact with what they're doing. Unless you're a business, for the most part, you're not going to keep your Facebook open. So that automatically means that any information that you'd like to broadcast is already sent to a closed circle. All your friends are on it. All your friends of friends are on it. All their friends are on it. And the only information that you're going to be sharing back and forth is in that closed-knit circle. So essentially, it created the watering hole technique. So like if we were on the savannah and we were all animals, every single day we got to go to the watering hole. It's our only location where we're going to get our drinks from. We're all going to be able to see each other. We're all going to have the same things. After a while, well, this guy's always going to go ahead and say he likes my post. This person's always going to try picking a fight with me over a political post or over something I consider an opinion. This person's not going to get along with another one. And that just happens to be the name of the game. People are just people. People also notice that when you have certain friends, there's a reason why you don't hang out with all your friends at the same time, because if you did, those friends might not like other friends. When you're on Facebook and every other friend can read every other friend's post, now it's no longer you speaking with your friends, it's your friends having fights with other friends, or your friends trying to get into a conversation, but it all becomes heavily opinionated. And I think just about the time that I was about ready to let go, everyone was either at each other's throats or the conversations were going nowhere. I was not getting the information that I wanted to get. I didn't feel like I was getting anything new. It just felt like every day it was going to be the same cycle over and over again. At which point, I switched from Facebook to the nascent Twitter at that point, when it was still growing, when it was still open information, and that's when I made the change. I deactivated Facebook and just stuck on Twitter and held on to that for a while, and or I'm still holding on to it now, but it seems to be my preferred method of communication at this time.
Yeah, you make a good point on. Normally, in the real world, if you had two friends that wouldn't get along, or you knew people would start a fight at a party, there would be a way to like avoid that. But if it's on Facebook and you know that people have opposing views. Let's say someone's all about Donald Trump and someone is all Bernie or Hillary. You know that they're gonna collide and cause issues and such. Oh, what
Agreed.
would So let's say Annabelle or Erin, if you guys are on Facebook and you have issues like that, what would be the best way you think to solve it if you have friends that have opposing views or that are constantly on each other's throats?
Well, I had a little issue with this when the gay marriage court ruling came out last summer. I have a friend who's very Christian. She was very against it, and as soon as that came out, she was posting all this stuff, homophobic things.
Hmm.
And I, for 3 hours, went online and got all these things in support of the ruling and trying to defend the gay community.
Okay.
And so I actually took screenshots of this conversation. We had a long conversation. We were not at each other's throats. We were actually trying to be educated about this. And in the
Okay.
end, we're still friends. But that was the biggest fight because it lasted like days and days of us just going back at each other. But in the
Oh,
end, we're just like, hey, you know what? We have this difference, but it's really has nothing to do with our friendship. So.
well, that's good that you guys were actually friends prior. I think the issue is when it's someone who's a Facebook friend, quote unquote, that you haven't actually met, and they have these strong views, against what you're saying. Like the one time I posted, there was someone with the jihad that was, which Chris knows. They
Hijab.
weren't standing for the national anthem,
It's called a
and
hijab.
huh?
It's called a hijab.
Didn't I say hijab or jihad? No, hijab.
Backwards.
Sorry. See, and if I was to say that now on
Mhm.
Facebook, people would
Yeah,
cut me
people would
short. Like,
explode.
oh my
Yeah,
God, you don't know what
for
it is,
sure.
and blah blah blah. Whatever. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I'm human,
Of
as
course.
everyone else is. But so yeah, I was defending her, saying like, you don't know her situation, and she was on her phone. Like she had a kid next to her. She could have been like calming him down. You don't know the circumstances, and then people are like, oh, she should get the F out of the country, like, how disrespectful, like, just, I had to actually mute the post because of the bureaucracies that were coming out of people's mouth. As much as you try, there's some people that are just so damn stubborn, so it's just like, I don't know, I'm to the point, like, either I share my views and I'm like, whatever, I know it's going to be a backlash, or there's some things that I just don't post. I kind of go back and forth to see. But I do like to share positivity. Like if it's something that I think would help people, even though it might, cause a little uprising and it's something, intellectual, then I do share it. But almost everything you share, someone will be offended by.
For sure. And I think you guys face all these things is because you're very active and social on social media.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I don't go through any of those. I have the only time I remember ever going through something like that kind of drama was when I posted that video on
Yeah.
Nerdy New Jersey, and even then that went away within like a
Tell,
day,
tell
literally
everyone
a day.
about that video that doesn't know
So
you.
okay, so I shared a video of guys and girls drinking beer out of another woman's cleavage, and it's I didn't think much of it because like both genders were doing it and it seemed fun, and I was just doing it out of I just shared it because it looked fun. So I had no like um I had nothing like negative vibes
Intentions.
towards it. Yeah, like
Mhm.
intentions. So I just posted in Nerdy, New Jersey, saying that this should happen, and I wasn't thinking. I wasn't taking into account all the people that I would be offending, and yeah, so backlash came within like an hour, and I think even an hour is like compared to what I've heard, like other people, an hour is very long, a very long time. But yeah, that
Yeah,
was the only time, you know.
and I think the issue with that is, like, he shared the video fine. Like, I told him I don't think this has anything nerdy to do with it, so I couldn't have shared it
No,
there.
I actually shared it within the mindset of that it's a party rather than being nerdy.
Like at a party.
Yeah, like that was my reasoning for it. But
Like,
you know,
honestly, I
it's
saw
not
that
it's
on my
not still wasn't appropriate. I know
I saw
now.
that on my news feed,
Mm.
and I didn't think much of it. I'm like, oh, this is so stupid. This is just like the water challenge, the ice bucket challenge, and which I did do back in the day to help donate for a good cause. I don't know what the cause was for this, but I just blew it
There is no
off.
cause. It's just
Yeah, I know.
I think it's just a challenge, like a internet challenge,
I know.
similar
I
to
saw
like the
one on
condom
Tosh that had
challenge
people's
and
butts, which is
what?
gross. Beer going down people's butts.
Oh,
Yeah, not tasty at all. I can
I
imagine.
I I can't I
um,
can't
but
imagine actually. No.
I think, yeah, look it up later. But I think the main issue is the comments. I don't think the
Yeah.
video itself was bad because it's just portraying like people who are consensual about having that done, which is fine. It was just the
Yeah.
comments that people were making, like, oh, all cosplayers should do this, and I don't know, they were very disrespectful to women and things of that nature. It's usually always the comments that make like something simplistic or an article that even isn't that bad appear like much more horrible than what it actually is. And that's what happened to Aniver basically.
Yeah,
I had to come to his defense, and
thank you
also
for that.
slapped the ruler a little bit too. I'm like, come on.
I feel
And then
terrible
somehow
for saying this, but
associated
I'm
with
one of
me
those
is my
people that
party.
I'm one of those people that I don't really get involved in comment sections much or forums or any of that. I like just to watch the world burn and just see these people going at each other just for my own entertainment. Won't get involved, but sometimes it is fun to see.
Yeah, I'm more of the same way. Like I'm not very like I don't get involved with conversations about
Mm.
um, the real issues, which you know people should do. Like they should voice their opinions, but I'm not one of those people who would actually speak out against something that's going on. And maybe I should do it more, but at the same time, with all the drama going on with Facebook and all the backlash, I just don't get into it.
Yeah. Yeah. My biggest pet peeves is when someone comments in the first sentences, "It is 2016, for God's sake, we should be," and then fill in the rest trying to have their own, social justice ideas that I just
Right.
Agreed.
Everybody's
can't
trying to
get
get
into.
something done
I
Mhm.
without
believe,
actually getting something
based
done.
Mhm.
in that particular aspect as well, another reason why it detracts, and another reason why I choose Twitter, um, just so that the viewers are understanding exactly where I come from here. I like to broadcast ideas. I'm not one to go political. I'm one to choose carefully what I say, what I do choose to broadcast, what I choose not to broadcast, and let other people know. And whatever I do say, whether for good or bad, whatever comments may be praised and or um, looked frowned upon, and it those are my comments. Those are things that I stand up for. Those are the things that I will completely take full responsibility for anything I do or don't say. And with regards to if you don't feel like saying anything, on serious issues, then don't. The internet, for all it's good or bad, is one gigantic troll. And by that I mean to say, like, it's just a platform where it's just ideas bouncing off each other. There is no real good or bad, so to speak. There is no real reason why the weight of our actions should be so heavily brought upon by everyone else's opinion, which is exactly that, an opinion. When you're able to express something to someone else and they're able to disagree with you, and you put your opinion against another person's opinion, and you both go like, you know what, we could agree to disagree. We could take a look at this and say, like, well, this works out for me, this doesn't work out for me, it's completely fine. What ends up becoming the issue, I think, is when people's opinions start turning into their weapons. When they force their opinions upon you, it's no longer an opinion. Now it's a fact. Now it's what everyone who attempts to do physically, whenever they get upset and they can't do it with words, attempt to do now on the internet and weaponize what you're attempting to say. And I think to a certain degree as well, people don't want to say anything anymore, especially going back to the Facebook account of this poor gentleman's encounter, that you no longer want to say what's on your mind because you're too afraid to say anything at all based off the fact that you're worried about what everyone else will say against you. So those are things to consider, and I mean, most probably wouldn't, and as you take a look at most feeds anyway, even when you start peeking in and out, that's all you see. You see people who post things up either because they didn't know what was going to happen, other people who willingly troll and just post some things for flame bait, and I'm completely with Erin there. I love to watch the world burn. If like, this is a buffet for me, and it's intellectual buffet only because it's the ability, it's the first rule of humor, which is everything is funny so long as it isn't you. And it's true. Everything is funny so long as it isn't you. And it's more so because you get to see how people react. But I think, that being the basis, everyone should be self-conscious about it. Everyone's not a special snowflake. I hate to break it to everyone. Humanity as a whole, we should be okay with the fact that live and let live. But the moment that everyone starts feeling, once again, like a social justice warrior, then at what point can we not say anything at all without feeling like we're offending every special snowflake out in the world? We just ruined ourselves as a human race to be like, I can't say anything. I just literally can't. And don't get me wrong, people could be as upset as they want to be, people could be as socially object as they are, and that's their opinion, and so long as they don't force it upon me and change my life, I could care less. If you don't like me because, the color of my skin, the sexual orientation of myself, whatever it might be, that's completely fine. That's your opinion, that's your method of expressing yourself. I'm not going to tell you it's 2016, the world should change, whatever the case is. So long as you're not interfering with me, I'm not interfering with you, and it doesn't infringe upon my right to live, I'm completely fine. And I think that's the way it should be viewed in general, but I think on the social media forum, everyone's opinion is just a weapon. And I think that everyone is just ready for war, and they're ready to stand their soapbox, and everyone's ready to be their own politician to get their message across. And I think regarding Facebook, to get back to the original social media, is the perfect format for that, because I don't think that people have recognized how to best utilize a social medium. They don't use the social medium to bounce ideas anymore. They use the social medium just to get their own ideas and their methods, and not even their opinions, but their convictions. They use their convictions as weapons to get it out there. Whereas on my end, as a contrast, and it's not perfect either because all vehicles of social media are flawed. I use Twitter primarily just to broadcast an idea. I want to go to a club. Hashtag this. I'll go ahead and search it. What's going on this night? What's happening here? I want to start this conversation. And then I get random strangers answering the questions I want rather than my friends going like, I like this idea, I don't like this idea. And then, so be it. I mean, like, it's not perfect in any way, shape, or form. I completely admit that. But this is the reason I choose one vehicle over another.
Now, Chris, I'm Twitter illiterate, but on Facebook, you always have that option to share articles and share other people's things. And I don't think you can't share articles on Twitter, right?
You could link articles. The only difference on Facebook would be that the interface of what you actually see. Like, you'll see an article, you'll see the article header, and then you'll see like the image that corresponds with it. Depending on the Twitter item you have, it'll also show up as the same.
Do you think people feel like they're more able to voice their opinions on Twitter rather than Facebook because they can't completely copy someone else's work and say, I fully believe in this, and they actually have to write themselves?
I think it could also be corrupted. And the reason I say that is because you could say something funny on Facebook on your own page. And let's say I had every single form of social media. But I know that my friends don't have access to you. And I know that my Twitter audience does not have access to you. I've now copy-pasted what you did and posted it up there. And that unless you're searching completely on Google, they won't be able to see it. I think that it could be corrupted. I think that one's not better than the other in that particular regard. I think it just matters as to what it is you're trying to find. So on Facebook, if I was to go back on Facebook right now, the reason I would is because I need to connect with other people that are my friends that normally wouldn't be using Twitter. So now I'm bound to Facebook because I need to express myself with other people in my like circle. For me, I have all my friends close by, or I have the people that I need to get in contact with at very short range. So for me, my vehicle of wanting to get my opinion, my voice out, what I'm looking for would be Twitter, because I want to see what a CNN feed is, what a a comic book store is selling, what Midtown Comics is doing, what a particular like movie is coming out, something like that. That is what I'm primarily looking for when it comes to that particular medium there.
Yeah, and to me, for me, I guess it's just easier to scroll Facebook really quick and see what the biggest news stories. Most of it is garbage and silliness. In my feed, to be honest with you, like funny memes and videos and stuff, like the Take On Me guys running and jogging, which I love. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but usually if there's like any breaking news, it'll be on there, or if like another celebrity dies or something. For me, it takes more effort for me to search things on Twitter than it does on Facebook, I guess. And of course, like my whole company's on Facebook, so literally tight on that.
I mean, for me, when it comes to news, I get it all from YouTube subscriptions that I have. Other than that, even there, they sometimes share their stories on Facebook or like snippets of it, and that leads me back to YouTube anyway. So for me, basically, what I use Facebook for is to like chat with you, chat with the company, chat with my friends. That's pretty much the only reason why I've been using Facebook. Or like the Facebook app itself, like you said, the news feed. Yeah, I go through that. I'll find myself using it and scrolling through it for almost like an hour without even noticing. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like,
what have I done with life?
It really sucks you in. Like sometimes I'll be in the bathroom and my husband's like, "Are you done yet?"
Yeah.
I'll just go to like pee or whatever. I'll say pee because we don't poop. So and I'm like, "Oh crap! Like how long has it been?" He's like, "You've been there for like 30 minutes or something." I'm like, "Oh crap! I can't feel my legs." You're right.
Or your butt.
Not right now. So you definitely could get sucked in and like lose track of time, and I think that's the scary part of it. Kind of get really drawn in there when there's actually important life things to do out in this world.
I wouldn't go that far. Like for example, I'm not knocking social media in terms of like there are better things to do in the world, because there always will be better things to do in the world.
Yeah.
Like there's people out there that are doing better missionary work than we are right now regarding a podcast. It's like there will always be something to do out there. It's a matter that I'm not going to lie, I'm a first worlder. This is what I'm entitled. This is what I live. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what we're doing right now. In no way, shape, or form is there anything wrong with that. I think it's a matter of either A, moderation, or B, knowing exactly what it is that you're going in for. So, like, for example, a question back to all of you would be, when you're on your Facebook, is it because you're a contributor or because you're a voyeur? And if it's because you're a voyeur, is there any particular data that you're trying to siphon out? Is there any particular story that draws your eyes? Or if you're a contributor, at that point, and this is on a personal level, this is not even on a business level, because when you're on a business level, you're always having to contribute. But as on a personal account, is your contribution an opinion? Is your contribution something you found silly and just felt the rest of the world needed to see it? Or is your contribution word vomit? And it's fine to be word vomit if it's word vomit. The flaw with Twitter is that, unfortunately, when you only have 140 characters to work off of, some folks can't control the ability to process 140 words, or 140 characters, my apologies, and instead just do word vomit, where they'll just put anything and everything up. And at that point, you lose the ability to broadcast. You just now throw up information that may or may not be relevant.
Yeah, for me, I think I'm more of a voyeur because I'm always checking to see what's going on with my friends' lives. I think it's a way for me to escape from having to actually talk to them and, connect with them at a more personal level, because I'm socially awkward like that, and that's kind of like
you are, but
well, maybe I'm probably getting a little better now, but before it was definitely like that. And the only person ever that I would actually like truly like get in a deep conversation with is my best friend. And yeah, I mean, after having done these podcasts lately, I mean, I'm getting better going to press play parties. Um, that's definitely been opening me up. But in terms of Twitter, I've always seen that as more of like a mess of words and letters and characters.
Well, that's completely fine. You're
Yeah.
completely right. That's exactly what it is.
And to get back to on that 140 characters, didn't they raise that?
No, they're attempting to, but once they do, then I
Oh,
might
they
as well
haven't
just go
done it
back.
yet.
Yeah, I might as well just go back to Facebook at that point.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
I was so sad when I heard he was on Facebook for 30 minutes. I'm like, I missed it. Like, because I've been wanting him to be on Facebook forever. And I have another friend, Omar, refuses to be on Facebook too. I have a few people where, like, whenever I have an invite, like Chris, I have to manually go separately to him and tell him, look, I'm having a party here. Send him a link. And he's like outside of the whole invite world and chat messages. So, like, I have to be like, oh crap, let me message them
But
separately. And, like,
that's the way
annoyed by
that's the
it.
way it always was before. Everyone had to send a text message, "Hey, party's
Exactly.
happening here," or you wrote an email. And Erin, yourself, not to leave you outside of the conclusion there. How do you view your social activities?
Oh yeah, there you go.
I don't contribute that much. I don't post much, but when I do, it's not really for social justice per se, but more of just to be humorous. Say I have a new cosplay photo shoot, I'll always share that. Um, I will, I just stare at dat boy memes for like hours and hours. That's pretty much what I do.
For me, that would be Tumblr. I'm on Tumblr for hours and hours a day, even during work while my partner is driving and I'm sitting in the passenger seat just scrolling through Tumblr. And it got even worse when I discovered my best friend was also on Tumblr. And like we've been best friends for about 8 years, and it's only recently we discovered each other on Tumblr, and that's really weird. But yeah, um, but yeah, she gets on and off of social media all the time. Like I would wake up one day and she disabled her Facebook, she disabled her Tumblr. I don't know. It's just
Sorry.
I guess she's trying to get
To disconnect.
yeah.
But at that point, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel about the fact that she disconnected? Do you have access to her directly? Do you
Yeah,
have her email? Do you have
I
her?
have her. We text back and forth.
I'm like, do
Even
you actually call her? Gasp. What's that?
okay about calling. I'm very like I don't like talking on the phone, and it's really weird. Even with my family, like I don't talk with my family on over the phone. I would either talk to them in person or just shoot them a text. And yeah, I really don't know what it is about that. I just don't like it.
I just to bounce off that idea, so that you know that you're not completely weird in any way, shape, or form. Is I heavily dislike speaking on the phone unless it's necessary. If I have to speak on the phone with a client, it's because it's business. If
Right.
it's family, if it's most people, I heavily, heavily, heavily dislike getting phone calls. If only because my reasoning is, if it's that important, you could call me. If it's not that important, you can leave me a text, because now I have a paper trail of you being able to tell me something, and I could always go back to it and get that information, and then be like, okay, I got your message. I'll be able to do something for you.
Exactly.
But at that point, I mean, for the most part, I feel like needing to speak to people is not necessary on my end.
Yeah, and my dad always loves to leave me like forever voice messages, and he'll leave me 5 voice messages in a row. Like, I know you called. I'll get back to you. Like, you know what I mean? He actually like takes away all my minutes. Like, I have like the lowest plan ever with phone, and I'm like, don't call me anymore. And he takes it offense. I'm like, no, seriously, you're gonna make me way more money. Like, stop. You're the only one that calls me.
It's
Oh,
funny.
I didn't tell you guys. Oh, Digi's there. We'll get
Hi.
Hi.
Digi Kalabang.
Mm.
You were saying, Erin?
I actually hate texting. Like, not the occasional text, but texting back and forth all the time for hours. I can't do that because I kind of want to be in the moment with whatever I'm doing. But if I, need information, I prefer to text and get it done with. Professional stuff too. But I can't stand, because I feel like a lot of stuff gets lost in translation when you're texting someone, and you just want to be able to hear their voice and say, this is the plan, and I don't want to type with my thumbs right now, because my thumbs will get really tired, because I have a lot to tell you.
Correct.
So my friends will hate me because I'll call them, and they'll be like, why can't you just text me? I'm like, it's gonna take me like 10 minutes to explain this. Let me call you. So
Oh, one thing I'm
That's
doing
reasonable.
now, which I didn't like at first, is and I'm sure you guys know, especially Anniver. I've been using the little Facebook microphone.
Right.
yeah.
Because
Honestly, I kind of hate that because every time you send me one of those, I have to put on my headphones.
Me
yeah,
too.
I usually just listen to it on my phone on the speaker, but
I
I
think I
work
have
from it.
people
But
around me.
it's
I don't
just
want them to
easier
listen to
sometimes
what you're
than
saying.
typing a million things like all my ideas where I have like 100 thoughts per minute, and like I'll be cooking or doing something, so it's just easier to say it than be like for like an eternity. So I feel like I'll just say it and then be done with it. Oh, and by the way, and then I didn't answer Chris's question. I know we went into another
Sorry.
tangent.
Yeah, we love going into tangents here.
So, for me on Facebook, I post news stories like breaking news, like the McGriddle being out for breakfast 24/7. Very important news that needed to be shared. I share numerous amounts of pictures of my daughter being adorable, and I'm sorry, I'm one of those moms.
Yeah,
I
nothing wrong with that. Your
share.
daughter's cute. She deserves to be out in the world.
Yeah, she's gonna be something one day. I don't know what, but something. Silly videos, stupid memes, business stuff. I do get political and preachy sometimes too. So it's like a
Mm.
slew of things. And yeah, I do, like I said, do go through my newsfeed. Um, sometimes for a little bit. Sometimes I get sucked in, but not an hour length straight. Not that bad, I think.
Well, you can't always time it. So it's whatever it feels like.
Yeah, whenever BB's like, "Yo, you've been in the bathroom too long."
Yeah, like sometimes my mom would tell me to run an errand, and I'm just still sitting in my room going through
Or if I'm
Facebook or
cooking
Tumblr.
while having the phone, it'll take like twice as long. He's like, seriously? Like, how long does it take to make pancakes? Like, what's going on in there?
I
Or
couldn't do
like
that. I would burn
toasted
something.
birds.
Is
Yeah,
it the
So,
need for instant gratification that keeps you? Is it that you need to be connected at all given points in time, or is it just the actual feed itself that hypnotizes you? Like on my end, I'll tell you exactly. I wake up in the morning. My ritual regarding social media is I'll wake up in the morning. First thing I do is check my Twitter feed. I'll catch up on everything I did. If it's a repeat, story, I'll just keep scrolling. If it's something important, I'll click on the link. If it's not important, just keep going, keep going. I'll favorite it. I'll take a look at something else. So that'll be my first one. Throughout the day, all right, I work a desk job, so I just keep it in my background. It just runs. And then I probably check maybe every half an hour or so, and then before I sleep, I'll take another look at it. I'm active with it because obviously I'll get mentions back and forth, and it'll be like information being passed and such. But I know that uh, my engagement with it is willful. It's my need to get information when either something's brought up to my attention or it's brought up upon a schedule. Do you feel at that point then that you are like it's habit? Is it rote for you? Like you just have to do it? Is there any way you could not do it? Could you be away from it long, or do you need for it to like continuously feed you that instant gratification of I need to know what's happening at all given points in time?
like, I personally, the first thing I do when I wake up, because I'm usually up before everyone else, like maybe at 5:30 or something ridiculous. Um, I usually go on Facebook and I have like a million notifications. So I go through all those. And then if I have any messages, I go through those and I answer them. I think sometimes I go through the news feed a little bit. I check my email. I would say Twitter. I don't really have much action there. It's most of my time is just going through notifications and then like doing business stuff and chatting with people about ideas and things like that.
Erin.
I was
Before,
not.
sorry.
I feel like I was not as invested into Facebook before I was in this whole cosplaying nerdy community because you just meet all these people at conventions who are coming from all over this area of the country, and you want to keep in contact with them, and it's not easy. And social media does really make that easy for you.
For sure. Even for me, it's more for me. It's the fe- uh, the need to feel connected at all times, and I don't really know if that's a good thing or not, but is the first thing I do when I wake up is check my phone for messages and see who who messaged me. Who usually is Jennifer now, but yeah.
Sorry.
uh, no, don't be sorry. It's a good thing to wake up to. Um, but yeah, I mean
At
it's mostly
5:30.
just what the f- the feel can't talk. um, it's mostly just to connect with my friends. Even like my best friend, I'm always texting her and um, always trying to see what's going on with her. What are we gonna do next? Things like that. Now lately, most of my conversations have been with the Perez Play community, and yeah, it's a community now. Um, just bouncing off how we're gonna do our next event, and that's been keeping me pretty busy throughout the day.
But that would be something you could also do without Facebook. I mean, you're doing it
I
now
can,
with Hangouts. I mean, we're at the current moment interacting as it is, and I
yeah,
know that at the current moment the vehicle is Facebook. So
Hmm.
the
right,
vehicle's Facebook if only because the chat is present there. The same way
right,
that you could probably also have a Google Hangout and have the same thing as well. Is it just a
It's so
matter of convenience because it's all Facebook located? So it's like I could chat while looking at my feed. It must
exactly,
feed the need.
exactly. That's exactly what it is.
and it's so hard, as Anniver knows, to get people on this podcast, like
Yeah,
at all. So with Facebook, it's just easier because like I have group chats. Like let's say I have one for each party now, and then if I have an idea or if I need to convey a message, like everyone has to be here an hour before, it'll go to the chat and people will view it at their leisure, which is good and bad because then if people start commenting like crazy, the message is lost. Which I wish you
right.
could pin messages on those chats. That would be neat, like an important message so everybody sees it.
Yeah, Facebook. If you're watching, like future,
Yes,
Good
get your
watching.
feature,
chat
future
together.
feature.
So yeah, it's good and bad because like everyone sees it, but people get annoyed, I bet, and like turn the
Oh, for
notifications
sure.
off and stuff. Because then we start being silly, and that's what I like about these podcasts and like Facebook chats and stuff. I actually do feel like I get close bonds with everybody. Speaking to them like an everyday basis or through these podcasts, you get to know people better. And I actually eventually, like to meet people in person and talk to them and I want to actually like hang out without it having to be an event, but that's always hard because everyone's everywhere. So I
Mhm.
guess
Exactly.
it is good, like social media, because it brings everyone together. Then the same token, like it's hard to actually get people together in real life, to meet up. Like it's to me, it's not enough. I like hanging out with people in person, like with my friends, not just like through social media. And that's always my hurdle now. Like for the friends that I have met now, especially in this cosplay nerdy community, actually hanging out with them in real life and like having fun and just like chilling and doing stuff like that. That's always my issue.
Yeah. One thing that it's from a movie that I've seen, and it's a radio host saying that people are so connected with someone across the world that they forget about their neighbor. And I feel like before internet became a thing, like people were very physically in a community where your next door neighbor is your best friend or something like that. And Facebook made it like just the internet in general made it very easy for you to have somebody who lives even halfway across the world be your best friend, be the person that you confide everything, um, connect with on a deeper level. Even relationships form on the internet, long distance relationships. So I think we're slowly starting to make the world smaller, but at the same time, everybody's becoming a stranger.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, and there are, of course, the bad parts where you don't know your own community, but there are the good parts. For instance, I met a friend who lives in South Korea. I'm learning Korean, she was learning English, and we were able to do a nice language exchange, and I'm going to meet her next year.
Uh-huh.
Yay!
So like we started 3 years ago, we became really good friends, sending packages back and forth, and it just makes like the world comes together, and you're not living in this bubble that is New Jersey.
This is true.
I actually met my half sister on MySpace. She reached out to me because like my mom and dad divorced when we were young, and my mom got remarried, and I never really met my half sisters till like I don't know, let's say 8 years ago or something like that. I remember I once saw her in the supermarket, and I was like too nervous to say anything. So a little bit after that, she actually messaged me on MySpace. And I was so happy she did. And since then, I connected with her and my other sister. But let's have Digi say something. I know she's been
She's
quiet.
very busy.
I don't want to take up all the time.
Yeah, because I was like, I just got on. I am kind of lost. I don't know what you guys talking about. I kind of assuming that you guys talking about the phone addiction or social media addiction.
Well, but right now we're talking about, I guess.
That would be
Like-
correct, though. It would be the general kind of social media addiction because everyone's hooked.
Basically, right now, I guess we're talking about how, you could be so connected to people online that you kind of lose focus of everyone else around you. You don't really hang out with people in
Yeah.
real life. You're just so focused about.
on your computer
Yeah.
Oh,
or
yeah,
your phone.
I think so because since we had everybody have a cell phone, but even though like me and my brother sitting right next to each other, and we had to text each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
that's very.
does it as a joke. We just kind of go like, I'm sitting right next to you. Why are you texting me? We can just talk.
Unless
Yeah.
you're trying to say something about someone, which usually like, what this guy talking about? Like, what the hell is that?
Before like if you want to call your brother, you just yell in the house. You go like, hey, come down, something like that. And now you just go like text, come down. It's like no
Yeah, it's
word,
less effort.
no sound.
Yeah, I call my husband when breakfast is ready because, like, when we wake up Saturday night, he goes back to sleep. So I'm like, hey, come down. Or sometimes I yell if I don't have my phone. That's another thing. I literally, when I wake up, that's why I go through everything as quickly as possible. Before Senna wakes up, I leave my phone in my room, and then to the time that I'm with her by myself downstairs, and I'm cooking breakfast, I do not have my phone on me at all in the morning. And then when I start work, I bring it up. So sometimes I yell at him. I'm like, baby, get down here. Breakfast is ready. Because I'm too lazy to go upstairs. But yeah, I've been finding myself doing that, and I'll ask you guys if if you're trying to curb your addiction, because I know I have, some kind of moderate addiction, which I'm, working on, and it's all the pings and business notifications too. But I literally every Sunday I turn off my Facebook, and I don't log in except for just like the morning hours, 5 something, and then I get out of my system, and I'm not on it at all. Actually, this afternoon from 1 to 5, I wasn't on my phone at all. I just took it off, and I went with my daughter to the park, to the pool. We played. I just, chilled at home after work or whatever. And just, do any of you, like, disconnect completely, or how do you curb it, or do you think it doesn't have to be curbed?
I think for me, it kind of dawned on me when my mom started calling me on my phone from the living room, just so she had to say something like a 2 or 3 word, thing like are you asleep, or something like that, like something that she could just come and knock on my door, which actually I kind of understand why she does it, because I hate when she knocks on my door, and like I hate being
What are you
disturbed.
doing?
It's nothing.
Nah, I'm just joking. I'm just kidding.
But yeah,
convenience, like for kids was like sleeping, like when my son's taking a nap, and nobody can talk to me because he will wake him up. So it was good to texting.
That's true
yeah,
also.
I do that too. When someone's like, "Oh, can you call me?" and I'm like, "No, Senna's napping. What's up? I can't talk to you right now."
Yeah.
You do that to me.
I don't know.
Erin's napping.
I should actually find a specific time where I shouldn't touch my phone or any social media. I think The only time that I actually do that is when I'm editing videos. Well, because my machine isn't very powerful, in order to run my editor, I have to close all other programs. And if I need to look up something, I would put, look it up on my phone. But I just hate doing that because I hate surfing the net. Like, I hate the browser on my phone. I don't know why, but yeah. Usually I just leave it off and turn off Facebook, turn off all other programs, and just edit my videos and focus on that. And that takes me about 2-3 hours. So I guess, eh.
Is there like a day, and any of you guys also added to the question, that you think that maybe you could do without it, that it's not needed at all?
Well, on my particular end, I don't think it's needed in general. I don't need it. I mean, like, the only thing I need to do is breathe, eat, sleep, do biological functions. But on my end, I come to realize that I'm a big gamer. Like, every day of the week, there's always something happening. And the part of gaming that I enjoy the most, and it's not just video gaming, I mean, like, gaming, like board games, going out to do anything, is usually I have people to do stuff with. So come Sunday, every Sunday, almost literally every Sunday, and or some point of the week, it's always a physical activity. It's always my brother, my friends. We all meet up. We're like, hey, what are we doing today? We're going to Boonton? All right, no problem. We're going to go to Bayonne? All right, no problem. Then we all hang out and play for hours on end, and it's our social time. It's the equivalent of what older generations would have done playing their board games and or poker, where all it is just them in a circle, it's us in a circle, and all we're doing is playing games, ordering coffee, hanging out, doing things. And at that point in time, I have no need for social media. I'll answer every single text I get, but I'm too engrossed in what I'm doing to actually want to take a look at my phone. The same also applies like if I go out drinking with my friends, or if I'm going clubbing, or if it just ends up being that I'm out socially with other people. I'm too engrossed to want to take a look at my device. My device is not I'm not bored. And I think that's a good way of figuring out how other people are. And this is also answering the previous question, which it comes like, how does social media affect your life in general, or people in general? Correct. The world gets smaller, but it gets bigger because the wall that we put up is the fact that we communicate via text. We communicate via written word, whereas our ability to speak is based off of 85% seeing the other person and hearing the inflection in their tone and their voice. So I could do Skype all day long, and I wouldn't consider that a bad thing, because why? I could see the person in front of me for the most part, or I could hear their voice, and that's all I need. That's more than enough to let me know whether or not you're upset with me. That's more than enough to let me know how the conversation is going to go. But if I just stick to the textual portion of communication, then I'm that person that's sitting in the middle of a conversation with someone else while having dinner on my phone. I'm the person who is unable to speak to another person because I don't have the social grace to figure out how I should be approaching them, because it's just so much easier to hide behind a wall of text. I can't smiley face my way through life unless I physically use the muscles on my face, So there's a certain division there. But that's going back there. And bringing it back to now, going back to whether or not I need to check my phone. Nope. Sundays I primarily stay off. I'll answer it if spoken to on any medium, but Sundays I'm usually hanging out with my real life people, playing real life games and or having real life connections with folks. And that's my particular interaction with that on the weekends. Weekends are usually free.
Chris, I need to really hang out with you more. I always miss it when I
Yeah.
And all of you too.
Well,
we need to
yeah.
meet up like once a month or something.
Well, we could try to do that barcade thing once a month.
Yeah, that's usually the good way to go around it. Like another way to, I think another reason why there's a big social addiction, or addiction to social media rather, and I apologize for tripping on words there, is I think for a certain degree of people, the need to communicate is addicting as it is, and when you can't communicate with people, you just want to continuously interact in some fashion. And if it's not even interaction, the voyeur part is like, I just need to be part of something. I need to be in that.
Right.
But at the same token, once again, I think having more physical interactions definitely fixes that for you, and it's definitely a high you can't get from anything else. The fun you get from hanging out with your friends and taking pictures and all that other crazy jazz ends up becoming important. So on my end, my way of getting around it, because I work in an IT field, I work with computers all day long, and like when I get home, I don't even touch a computer. Like I'll touch a console because it's not, I'm not doing work on it. I don't even own a full rig because I just don't want to deal with it. I'll deal, but I'll deal with my cell phone. I'll deal with like my box. I'll deal with like a really, really piece of crap laptop only because it does what I need it to do. But it's worth at least investing the time to disconnect.
Yeah, for me, like, to get back to you, having your 15 minutes are done, by the way.
Okay. We'll
So,
start wrapping it up.
yeah, basically, going back to you having your Sundays, for me, I keep trying to do something like that, but it just, I hate like routine work. So it's something like I can't do the same thing every day or every week or even like every month. Like I have to, it has to be something very different. So I don't, am still trying to figure that out, but I really do want something like that.
So then, like every Sunday, do a different outing or go somewhere different or meet a different friend or something. You don't have to be on
Yeah,
Facebook.
but then like with that comes finance.
Finance is a
Finance
big
So
is
one.
a part.
finance is a very big part of it. Like I try to make like every Thursday or was it Friday like a movie night with my cousin. Like for the longest time I wanted a movie buddy, and as soon as I got my cousin who loves to watch the same movies that I do, and we used to go like every week, we started having to increase our bills, rent bills. They kept
Yeah.
getting like bigger, so we had to cut that out. And we haven't
I,
been to a movie in 4 or 5 months.
yeah, I haven't even seen Batman versus Superman, and I saw like maybe the first 10 minutes of Finding Dory because then my daughter was freaked out by the darkness and wanted to leave.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I guess like for me, I'm like 24/7 with my family, and I love them. I never get sick of them, but I like crave social interaction and to be with my friends and fellow moms, or even have play dates. So I just more like I have the same old routine every single day. I wake up, and I would check Facebook, I make breakfast, I work, I play with Santa, and go to sleep. It's like the same thing. So then the weekends, or even when I'm off work, I want to like hang out with people, socialize, and now that my hours are part time, I used to go more to like outings in New York and stuff, but I just can't afford the travel and pay the
Exactly.
covers and all that stuff for that. So that's why I'm going even more crazy with Perez Play and hoping that launches off so I can
Yeah.
just do that
I,
eventually. Or
I think in that sense, the older generation had a big upper hand over us who are very engrossed in social media because they were friends with their neighbors, so they could just go over across the street or down the block and just hang out. I remember I used to have friends who lived down the block from me, and I would like when I was a kid, I would go every single day after school. I would hang out with them. Even my best well, I don't really consider him my best friend anymore, but um, he lives 2 blocks away from me, and we would see each other every single day. We were in the same class for almost 14 years. I've known him, and we never find time to hang out anymore. And it's really sad, but life gets in the way, and social media just makes it easier for people who have that same kind of schedule, like um, to meet up. But then travel costs are the biggest things.
yeah, I used to have a friend called Jimbo that was across the street. Shout out to Jimbo, wherever you are. But yeah, I'm like I'm part of all these clubs too, like Richfield Park Moms, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's have a little play date and whatever, and it never happens, and it's always weird, like making friends out of nowhere that are
Mhm.
nearby you. It's just strange now. Like
It
I'm
is
just gonna
very
knock on
strange.
someone's door. Hey, you have kids? I have kids. Let's hang out. Let's be and like, what am I gonna talk about? That's why I have friends who also cosplay moms that are into it, so at least I could talk to them about that and anime and cool superhero movies and stuff like that. Or even guy friends, even if I had any guy friends nearby, I don't care about the gender. Everyone's just so freaking Far
I
from me.
care about gender. I could never talk to like a stranger, female stranger. Like the only people across from me who are around my age are girls, and like I never see them, but I've seen them come out of the house once in a, just catch them. But yeah, everybody else is just so much older than me that it's really hard to find even a reason to actually go up and talk to them.
Hmm.
On
Well,
top of me
I'm
being,
much older than you, and we get along, right?
but we already have an established
Well,
connection through our nerdy tendencies on social media. That's why social media is so big, because without having to actually talk to somebody, you already know a certain amount about them to connect with them, and then you could start talking to them about something that you both have in common.
Exactly. I think that's why it's so big because most of your neighbor is not really into your hobby. So like what you can talk about is like limited. But if you
Very limited.
social media, you actually connect with people who have the same hobby, same interests, and that's why you got more topic to talk about, and you feel more connected.
Yeah,
yeah, I
you're
guess.
just sorry, you're just not forced anymore to find um, people who are near you to find things to talk about and connect with.
In that particular sense, I feel it's a double-edged blade. Just to round off things here, because I could find the data I need to get the information I want. So I could be like, okay, well, I like this type of movie. He likes that type of movie, or she likes that type of movie. We could speak about it and we could share those ideas. Granted, now you've given me an avenue of ease to speak to that person, but I also believe that once that person, or rather, once this particular action becomes rote, once it becomes something you do all the time, your need to interact with another person, a physical person, starts to drop. The chances are that, or in my experience rather, I've noticed that the people that usually flake on me, who are unable to meet up with me or choose not to, is because they don't have the conviction to do so anymore. There's no, if someone writes me an email, I don't want to read it, I don't have to read it. If someone writes me a message and I just don't feel like answering right now, I'm not going to answer it. So there's no,
Exactly.
my convictions are now based on the same level that it would be if I was on the internet. Or I feel that most people would be. So it's like, oh, I don't have to answer this text message. Or I thought we made plans. No, I'm going to do something else. So people's convictions drop because they don't want to deal with it. They'd rather stay home. They'd rather do something else. And I feel that that's another reason why there's a slight disconnect, or that's the reason why I try to stay away from certain social medium outlets, because I feel that having access to another person digitally is no excuse for not being able to put forth the effort to strengthen a relationship with them otherwise. If I say to you guys, you know what, we could speak about business over Facebook, yeah, no problem, we could do it, but wouldn't it balance itself out if I go, we can meet at a cafe? We don't have to buy anything. Starbucks lets you sit down, use their free Wi Fi, and just breathe and take up their air, just so long as you populate the area. Would it not be the same if I was to say, why don't we just meet up once a month, or why don't we meet up on Sundays to discuss business plans at the Starbucks, at a park, at a location that has a table? We round robin it, even if we all have our computers together, but we're physically there.
For sure. And that's definitely what used to happen, but it's just social media makes it so much easier to do that without having to reschedule plans or having a set schedule where people like to be flexible nowadays.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's just a easy way out for a lot of people.
But
And
so then we would admit then, because I mean that's one of the things is I think that's another reason why I'm very picky about, and once again, this is all about, once again, the topic, which is the addiction itself. So long as people are fully aware of their addictions, is it okay? At that point, is it okay to endorse that particular usage? Are we just continuously feeding the machine of like, because when it started, Facebook was only for college students, and then they bled onto high school students. And then it was like, are you breathing? Do you have a pulse? Do you have an email account? You too could join. You could be part of this as well. And are we acknowledging that we like to feed the machine? Because
I feel like
I'll admit it on my end, like on certain levels, I feed the machine because I integrate with technology. I need to know. I need to boost up forward it. But there's a certain level as well where I realize um, I like to physically go to concerts. I like to physically go clubbing and dancing. I like to drink. I like to hang out with my friends physically. If you make an appointment with me, I will 99.9% be there, unless my legs are broken or I get into a car accident or God forbid something else worse
I
happens. But
still
I'll be
think
there
that happened.
because that's my word. That's what happens. But
Yeah.
I don't feel that. Or sometimes I just feel like the people that I would find on Facebook now, that would be my friends, that who are my quote unquote friends, who are the people I associate with, my acquaintances, wouldn't be putting forth the same effort I would be towards a physical interaction.
For sure. That's definitely true. I've been guilty of skipping out on a few interactions simply because either I was too afraid to interact or even I just didn't want to. I'd rather just stay home, do whatever I'm doing at home. Um, yeah, I mean, it's not
No,
as
that's completely understandable. I mean, like, but that's the reason why. Like, this is a self-awareness
exactly.
that your viewers and your audience are paying attention to, because most aren't. Most would not be willing to commit and say, like, hey, you know what? This is true. This is actually what happens. Because right now, chances are they're either posting a meme, or they're posting a selfie, or they're posting something silly on the internet that could just be anywhere else, or they're posting a picture that just makes no sense, and you're going through it, and you're like, should I press the like button? Should I not press the like button? And then you keep continuously
Like,
scrolling. Huh?
unlike.
But I mean, and it is what it is, and it's just a matter of like being cognizant of it, and then seeing whether or not you want to make an effort to do something else. And if you don't, that's completely fine. You're a human being. You get to choose what you want to do. But for our listeners, for the people that are paying attention, this is what you'd want to pay attention to. You've actually heard everyone speak about their experiences. You see, and for the most part, you're probably sharing the same experience as well, considering you're all part of this particular community.
Right.
And so it comes down to a matter of reflection. How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? Is this something you continue with and you completely accept it? And if you do, that's completely fine so long as you're able to admit it to yourself. Or is this something you're like, you know what? I probably need to step away from it. Then what steps do you take?
But we have Morgan. He's actually been on the podcast, Morgan Miller, and he's watching us right now, and he wanted to share some insight of his own. So he says that he could attest being addicted to the internet and Facebook. However, both have greatly helped his photography and helped him meet some wonderful people that he would have not met before, if not it had been for Facebook.
I completely agree with the statement as well. I believe in the exact same thing, in which those are cases where social media works out in your favor because you're actually outreaching. And like I mentioned, I think, once again, the original topic was on a personal Facebook level because the personal is personal. Businesses have to survive on Facebook, I believe, or businesses need to find the proper channel. It used to be the white pages, it used to be commercials, but now Facebook
Right.
just works. Why? Because your consumer base is literally right there. Everyone's there. You can
Exactly.
just pick on them no matter what. It's not a problem with it. I completely agree from an objective perspective of a person um, reaching out with their product, reaching out with something, with the people that they do end up connecting with. But then comes the follow up of, now that we've connected, is this our only method of connection?
I personally definitely like hanging out with people. I'm a very sociable person, and I know I forgot what kind of there. You know how like there's introverts and all these type of personalities. I'm the one that's outgoing.
Extrovert.
Yeah, but it's like it's more complicated than that. It's like this whole chart of different type of personalities. I forgot what it was. IANF, all that stuff. So I was the one that was the outgoing type, and I know most of the people watching and most nerds are more of the introvert type. And I actually, that's why I did nerdy and I did these podcasts and my events because I want people to go out and like interact with each other and make new friends and like just live life more than being sucked in, which even I can. So I definitely even with the business level like it's great, but then like the notifications and it gets even more crazy online, like
Yeah.
everything you have to keep up with. But I would say now we could do maybe our closing statements, tell people where to find you, have any advice for people who are suffering with this, or I'll start with Anniver if you want to do any closing remarks.
Oh. Well, you called me Aniver. It's Nero, by the way. Uh,
It's his
yeah,
real
you
name, and
always
that's why I call him
yeah
Nick. He's my friend. Move
yeah.
on.
It's always it'll just take some time to catch on. But anyways, You can find me on breathingveil.com or my Facebook Breathing Veil or my YouTube channel Breathing Veil. That's BreathingVeil. Um, yeah, so I don't really have any advice because I'm going through the same things, and I am among the people who actually need to do something about it because it has been consuming my life, and there have been times where it's my addiction to my phone or social media or to YouTube has gotten in the way of me doing like putting out a video or like even editing a video or going out to shoot a video. I have a bunch of scripts just sitting in my computer with. I need to plan to make them into actual films. So I think I do need to work on getting out of like the whole social media chain.
Okay, and
And
you
that's my
Chris,
closing statement.
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Wong.
Oh, um, well, my closing statement, as I mentioned previously earlier in this podcast, is it's all opinion. You know, it's all how you approach it. It's all what you want to take from it. And since the topic in of itself was an addiction, everyone's addicted to something. Just because it's humanity likes to be curious. Humanity wants to get involved in one shape or another. Mine particularly just wasn't Facebook. That's the only difference. Like, I will fully admit that I am not a Facebook junkie, but I am a Twitter junkie. I love, I like to take my data where I could take it and how I could take it. And in that particular regards, I suffered through my own addiction, or I suffered through my own faults of how I, derive my information from it. Um, I'm still, even though I am a person who just loves technology and is able to um, feed off of Twitter all the time, I am a very physical person as well. I like meeting up with people. I like interacting with people because it not only puts me outside of my comfort zone, but it also helps me figure out what it is that I do or don't like. I like what I like. I could tell you I like this particular anime. I could tell you I like this particular movie, but unless someone else brings me another movie that might be better and I just never ever considered, and their argument was not logical, how would I ever know that? How would I ever see that? How would I be able to speak to another person and not share the connotation, the inflection on their voice, whether or not they truly were happy or if they were just sending me a winky face and it was just like, okay, well, end the conversation there. It just means they're happy. But to wrap it up, you can find me on Twitter, definitely. I'm at Catastrophe with a K instead of a C and with a 3 instead of a E. And for the most part, I interact and or relate to anything. So I'm always open for conversation. I'll always speak objectively, and if something's an opinion, it'll stay as an opinion. I promise not to force my thoughts upon anyone on that.
Okay, and Digi. Miss
I don't think
Colobon,
she's
she's
listening.
writing a letter to her secret admirer.
So everybody know how to scream with it. So this
Oh, that's an amazing idea. We should have done
There you go.
that.
So yeah, to give advice because I used to be really addicted to computer, internet, cell phone, and after I had a baby, I kind of noticed like just let your cell phone run out of battery, then yeah, you will just kind of like you will leave it alone.
That's true.
just
I think
just let it go out of battery, or just let it get lost, so you won't be addicted. Well, like probably a week, then you'll be fine.
Or
Mhm.
have your baby hide it. Senna has hid it. And I'm like, well, I guess I won't have my phone today.
I think the only other time that I haven't had my phone with me is when it's charging. Even then, with my computer being right next to me, it kind of defeats the purpose. But yeah, anyways.
Well, because my husband's the one who always charging his phone.
Yeah.
But he's so addicted to it. And to me, I found out because remember the Sandy storm? Like my house ran out of power for like a whole week, probably like 2 weeks. I think it's
Wow.
longer than that. And you got no Wi-Fi, no internet, but you still got to live with it. And I know who really suffer when they're so addicted, which is my father. He's so into the internet. And he keep asking me like where to find Wi-Fi. So we had to go looking for like Barnes Noble or Mall. I know like even though they have a Wi-Fi, but they are really really low because you see tons of people over there charging their phone using Wi-Fi. So me and my brother just end up sitting at the coffee shop and we talk to the strangers.
Hmm.
So that's how you kind of just let it run out battery.
There we go. Let it run out of battery. Erin, close us off. What is your closing thought?
I'm Erin Sabino. We have a cosplay page coming soon, but my best advice is when I'm at work, when I do my waitressing job, I tell myself you can't look at your phone. I do a better job, and I feel more rewarded when I'm done because not only did I work hard, but I had my mind focused on something else for a bit, and I feel so much less clutter in my mind and generally in a better mood afterward. Go ahead.
So
I like
basically,
that.
let it run out of battery.
Run out of battery. That is my best advice. Never charge.
I definitely say like I personally like I have met people where I'm literally talking to them for the first time like at events and such, and they're looking at their phone and like completely not absorbed in what's going on. Not only is it rude, very rude, but I really feel like you're missing out on, like a potential friend or, an interesting topic of conversation because you're more interested on whatever's going on in your phone. You just have to live in the now for what's in front of you and what is going on. Like, let's say if I'm like on Facebook 1 second posting Facebook status and like then I was doing a cute little dance or saying something and I completely miss out and that part is like, out of my life. I would just say, I personally, how I deal with it, I'm sure everyone has everything to deal with it. My husband's like, why can't you just ignore the sounds and all that? I can't. So I just literally turn it off for several hours or a day, or I'll have to look at what's going on because who knows? It could be a potential customer. It could be an email for like a part-time job. It could be, Adam, Nero. It could be
With new information about the next party.
it could be anything, and I'm like, oh
Mm.
my god, I need to know. But once I am off that Sunday or several hours, I just feel like I could like meditate and think, and I feel like Erin says, like so much more refreshed, and like I don't know, my anxiety level goes down so many notches, and like I really think, just like when I switch from like soda and juice to just drinking water all the time,
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
it's gonna be hard as hell as first, but it feels so good, and like when I have it off on Sunday, I'm not like, oh, I need to check it. I just know, okay, this is my day, and I don't need it. Notifications and crap. I wonder if I could just put like I have to look in like a vacation message, like I'm off Sundays, leave me alone. That because I've never disabled anything. I don't hate people. I don't like when people are in and out of Facebook. I'm like, just I don't know. I'm like, just
It's
make your
really
mind up.
weird.
My
Well, I'm
sisters
about
do
to
it
be
all the
tested.
time.
Sorry, I'm about to be tested because I'm going to Bangladesh in the next whenever my mom decides to get tickets to there. But yeah,
But I wonder,
um,
instead of disabling it, I think there's a vacation mode, like just so then people, you know, can't notify you, or do you have to disable it?
I think there is something like that.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
thinking of
I mean,
doing
you
that.
could always put your phone on airplane mode, but that's like kind of not that's skipping the point.
No,
Um,
but the thing is, I don't want to come back to like a million notifications. I don't want
that's
I want people to know like like I'm gone. Like I don't want to be flooded. It's like when you're gone for a week from work and then you come back and you have like a
I
million
think
and
when you
one
do
emails
something
that you
like
have to.
when you do something like that, you're gonna have that anyway because a lot people are always gonna have something to tell you,
Yeah.
and there's just no escaping that. So whenever you come back to it, just take a deep breath and just get ready for it.
Oh God.
Yeah,
True
it's just something
story.
you
And
have to
then
deal with. Even like bosses who go on vacations, when they come back to work, they see all these things that they need to do, like all these maybe something that somebody was supposed to do, they didn't do it, and they have a lot of those things, to think about. And
Yeah, like a
Just
little
thinking kind of-
like when I went on a honeymoon with my husband, I think I was away for like maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks, and I came back from my job. It was this Japanese company that I worked for, and I was a sales and marketing assistant, but I did 100 million things. And when I came back, there was like files up to here. Like no one had helped me with anything. When people were out, I always like helped and like picked up the slack. No one did anything, and I had like the worst boss ever there. So I literally had like a nervous breakdown, and I quit the day I came back from my honeymoon. I'm like, I can't. I left a notice. I'm like, I'm sorry for whatever reason. I don't know if I said health reasons or I can't work here anymore. And I left that company. I was younger there, and I wouldn't do that now. I didn't have as many obligations.
Yeah.
But my husband was like, if you really had like I had a panic attack, or like I really was like, I don't know. I just felt like at that point in time that I couldn't work there anymore and like deal with that anymore. Like after living the fantasy of like my honeymoon and to come back to that reality, I'm like, I can't
It hit
work
you
here.
too hard.
No, but literally that job was like, I don't know, like for forever. I didn't have my own boss, and I had like I was working by myself in the office like for a year. The boss had left, and the president went to Japan. I was all alone, and they would just bombard me with work. So I'm like, F it. I'm starting a whole new life, whole new job. F this shit. I'm out of here. So yeah, I'm working on feeling overwhelmed. Really long lists and stuff, and chats and notifications drive me nuts. So that's why sometimes I just need to step back, turn off my phone, and like, peace.
Yeah. Just be ready to come back to a whole flood of messages and
Yeah, but
notifications.
so yeah, even if I do, it's still worth it to disconnect. You really get to
For
think.
sure.
You get like really bombarded with all the different videos or ads that come up and commercials, and you don't really get to think for yourself and like relax. Like you just always have constant information thrown at you. So it's just good to just disconnect from all that every once in a while. Trust me, people, you can do it. Oh, and you can find me on Just Gen Cosplay, Perez Play, obviously, Nerdy New Jersey, New York. So, yeah, so thank you guys for watching. I hope we helped each other, and I hope we all can meet. I know I don't drive, so I will need to find the method of transport.
Yeah, as soon as I get a car.
Maybe we could meet somewhere in the middle or something.
I'll be your chauffeur.
But yeah, I actually posted this. I saw that car companies on purpose made things difficult to get to that you need a car for, just to have people forced to buy cars.
True.
Adam ruins everything. Check it out. It's a show. It basically does that. Like he shows the truth of what how things really are. But anyway, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. I have no idea what we're gonna talk about then. But it should be fun.
We'll figure something out.
Huh?
We'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll figure something
Maybe
out.
photographer part 2 or musician part 2.
Maybe. Or if you have any suggestions, feel free to let us know, okay?
Yeah, leave some comments in the video on the YouTube.
Yes,
page.
on the YouTube, Nero stresses comments on the YouTube and not on the Facebook. Well, bye. Mata ne.
Bye.